You know what sounds good right now?
Oh, what sounds great?
Actual Raspberry Pi.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I don't know why. It just sounds good to me. But hi, welcome to Tech Talk Tuesday. Guess what? It's Tuesday. Get it? Did you know that, Neil?
I didn't. I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, you show up every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern. Wink, wink. Why can't other people?
I just don't know. Must be difficult.
Yeah. Well, here we are to bring you this week's interesting news, or at least what we think is interesting. And you just kind of are stuck with it. Like whatever we think is interesting, like that's what you're going to get.
If you don't care, we're not quite sure why you're here.
If you didn't want that, then I don't know. Our cooking show is on a completely different schedule.
Right.
And with that, we'll dive right in.
So we've been hyping up Google Meet for a while, and particularly the features that Google continues to bring to it. And the latest thing to help bring it up to parity with Zoom is custom backgrounds. So this is apparently going to be rolling out to users over the next week. So some users could be seeing it like tomorrow. Some users could be seeing it today in a week. So
I mean, there might be some users seeing it today. Who knows?
Yeah, there could.
Is that like some late breaking information that you just received?
Yeah, basically.
I think
my source says. Yeah. So really this is just bringing it up to speed with Microsoft Teams and Zoom, who both already allow this. But yeah, so this is pretty neat. I saw that the Google CEO actually said that Meet had 235 million daily meetings and more than 7 billion daily video calls. So yeah, so they're definitely doing some traffic, and I think that this is great. Just helping again to bring it up to speed. So
yeah, that's fantastic. I do think that they have some pretty neat stuff that obviously you and I use Zoom a lot.
Yes.
A lot, and not necessarily by choice per se, but like just because it's kind of generally accepted practice, I think, for the companies that we work for and work with. So, but there's some neat stuff that's in Hangouts, like their ability to kind of blur out backgrounds and to do some kind of things that I mean are pretty passe, but just aren't available in Zoom. I think that's kind of unfortunate. But I'm excited to kind of see them continue to add and continue to add. And
I mean, P.S. Meet's free if you have a Google account.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and
hard
you can have up to 100 people with no time limits.
That's crazy, right?
Which you definitely can't do with Zoom. If you have a free Zoom account and you have more than 2 people in there, you're limited to a 40-minute meeting before you have to spin up another one.
That's interesting. Now, do they do on Meet, which I haven't played with a whole lot. I've been on, like I said, Zoom a lot. But when they kind of tile everybody, one of the things that drives me crazy about Zoom is not everybody is in the same position from their perspective in Zoom calls, right? Like if for instance, if you and I are talking and we bring a third party in, it may be me, you, third party. From my perspective, but from you, it would be, me, third party, and then you. Like, it's very frustrating, which doesn't seem like a big deal until you see some of those cool videos of people like doing some, like, I don't know, kind of hijinks or whatnot, where they're like, hey, pass me the thing. And it's like, oh, okay, here you go, Neil. What? And then like you pick it up. And so I don't know. I just think there's some interesting concepts there. The fact that they can even handle 100 people and do it well is another like thing I really, really like about Meet. That Zoom, boy, I mean, you start getting, I feel like 25 plus people on, and it just like, oh, not good.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't tried to mess around with like specific locations for people. I haven't tried to do that yet, but yeah, I mean, that would be definitely something that I think all video conferencing should look into, particularly like when you have like a singular presenter. It's
Yes.
really nice just to be able to see them. And I know Zoom does a pretty good job of like bringing recent speakers up to the top. But yeah, it's definitely something that would be nice if you could just, for the call, just say default, this person is going to stay in this location for the entire call.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. That'd be really nice.
I just want too much, Neil.
Yeah, I know that's asking a lot.
It is. I mean, how hard it's got to be really difficult to program that.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm not a software engineer.
That's right. No, I wouldn't. I would know the first thing about it on my Commodore. In higher tech news, maybe, then certainly anything that you and I are touching. I know that Tesla is raising their price, and I knew this was going to be coming. He announced it. He always says, "Hey, this is coming," and people go, "He's not really going to raise it," and then he raises the price on full self-driving. I lucked out, and I went ahead and just made the plunge for $5,000, which at the time I was like, "Oh my God, I'm insane for doing this." $5,000 and for full self-driving when I purchased late last year or mid last year, or was it 2 years ago? I lost track. Like I don't even know how long I've had my Tesla. So interesting that it's now up to $10,000, and people will pay it, right? Like it's, especially as you got the Cybertruck and you've got the Model Ys are now rolling like pretty heavily. It's kind of I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Obviously, the full self-driving beta, right, out in the wild as well. I think that's huge. We're seeing some like really cool videos of people doing things that I wasn't sure that we were really going to do, such as we have a lot of roundabouts around here. Like, you know it, I know it. It kind of sucks, but like whatever.
Thanks,
and, I always have to turn off the autopilot kind of stuff when we get to a roundabout, which is frequent, right? And I thought, oh man, this is going to be murder for full self-driving. I watched some great video. Like it actually handles it really, really well. There's definitely some interesting things that are still happening. Like there's definitely some moments where people are like, ooh, I had to take control over it. But that's the point, right? They're doing a slow rollout specifically to target people that they know will actually pay attention and not become too lackadaisical with it, which I would probably be guilty of if they gave it to me. So that was probably a good call that they didn't choose me. So
yeah, I think it's important to note what full self-driving actually is. Like,
that's a good point.
It still requires monitoring, like, and you have to keep your eyes on the road. You have to keep your hands on the wheels. Like, yeah. So yes, these things can go wrong, but you're also still driving the car. You are still liable. Like if something happens, like all of those things still apply. Like just because you have it on full self-driving mode doesn't mean that you can just go to sleep, right? Like that's not what full self-driving is. And they're kind of selling it as that by naming it that on purpose. But yeah, that is not where the software and the neural network is at this point in time. That is, Tesla does not have the right to do that currently legally. So yeah, if you are using this mode, please be paying attention. Because
I like the statement that they make. I've seen it on a few clips where they say like the warning, like it's a pretty explicit warning about they have the usual run-of-the-mill thing about it being beta software, but in this one, it says there's a little snippet that says it may do the wrong thing at the worst time.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, okay. So anyway, I just think it's interesting. So I mean, we're definitely seeing, I think more than just a cash grab here. I think we're seeing truly the valuation of the technology. I mean, you think about what you'll pay $1,000 for, $2,000 for, or at least what the market bears, right? So you think about smartphones, right? So you have like a $1,000 smartphone released at least every year, right? For whoever you choose, like whether it's you're on the Android platform or Apple, the flagship phone is always going to be like $1,000 now, right? Sometimes a little more than that, even, right? $1,200, $1,300, depending on really what you want. And so when you really start to think about that and like, what does a laptop cost? Okay, what does just general technology costs look like? It's not far-fetched to think that, like, man, for a fully neural linked kind of self-driving option to be $10,000, I still think it's a steal.
Yeah, I mean, PS, it's a one-time payment, right? Like, it's not something that you have to continue to renew, or at least currently, it's a one-time payment, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, I mean, I think Elon saying that the value could be somewhere in excess of $100,000 over the technology's lifespan in your Tesla. So it's like, well, when you put it that way, and I mean, the value is whatever, like, subjectively the individual says that value is, right? Like, let's be really clear about that. Like, so like, Elon can say this because he wants you to buy it, but that's not necessarily true.
Right.
So I mean, it is what you'll pay for it. Currently, they're saying that a lot of people will pay $10,000 for it, which is why that's where the price is. Yeah, this is really cool. I mean, I ride around in your Tesla all the time, and I love when you get on the highway and you just go boop boop, and it just does its thing.
Yeah,
it's really nice. Obviously, you're still paying attention, but it's just really nice to just let it do its thing and just let it drive itself. It's cool. I know it takes a lot of stress off of you as well.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I mean, for you, it was definitely worth it. So,
well, so that's some pretty heavy computing, and that's some very thick hardware and software. But moving on to a story, really, that's kind of on the opposite arena.
Ooh, Raspberry Pis. So if you don't know what a Raspberry Pi is, let's start there. It's a very small computer that's like the size of a deck of cards, essentially. Maybe a little bit bigger, but that's what it is. And it has everything that you need to run a computer, essentially, in that little device. They're great for people just getting into like working with terminals, just like small scale computing and things like that. So if you don't know what that is, you should check them out. They're really neat and they're super affordable. But this is a first for the Raspberry Pis, is that they came out with a keyboard and mouse not too long ago that you could just like hook in, and it was totally like branded for Raspberry Pi and everything, and everybody really liked that. But they just took it a step further with the Raspberry Pi 400, and they put all of the components that you would normally have in like your little deck of cards into that keyboard. So now literally your computer is just the keyboard that you carry around. Now you'll still have to have some sort of like visual viewing device, but if you're going to say like work or something and you know you're going to have that, you can just plug it right in, and you can just take your computer that's literally a keyboard. But yeah, no, this is really, really cool. The fact that it only costs $70 for what you get as well is pretty nutty. Like the computing power on this is pretty good. Particularly when you're talking about $70. So yeah, this is really cool. If you haven't checked out Raspberry Pi and you like to fiddle around with computers, I would definitely suggest looking into it and just kind of seeing what you can do with it, because it's really, really neat. And it's a great little hobby to pick up.
Yeah, it's been great. I've been running a couple different versions of those just to do little like tasks and whatnot. One was to run actually a Tor node, some crypto nodes and things like that. They're actually both off right now, but yeah, I don't know. I normally just use them for to kind of poke around with. You're right. Like you can, especially with the 8 gig kind of version that they rolled out. I think it was earlier this year. You can really get a pretty hefty version of like Ubuntu or some other kind of desktop software on there, and truly use it as an actual like small, what they used to call biscuit-sized PC. That actually supports like dual 4K monitors and things like that. Like that's crazy. I mean, I don't know. I never would have guessed that that's where we would have ended up there.
Yeah, so it comes with 4 gigs of RAM, which, I mean, isn't a lot, but when you look at how big this thing is, it's pretty nice. It comes with Wi-Fi built in. Yes, Raspberry Pi.
Now this is all I really want.
It comes with Bluetooth, has Ethernet. There are also 2 USB 3 ports and another USB 2 and a USB-C for the power. So I mean, like, this is all pretty modern technology coming out of this thing. Yeah, I mean, between this and like a Chromebook, like, you're looking pretty similar type of specs. Maybe Chromebook is a little more, but I haven't looked at it specifically. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't use this for anything that you would want a Chromebook to use. Like, so yeah, a great alternative. It's cheap. Obviously, you'll need a screen to actually be able to view anything, but yeah, this is super cool. I would suggest checking it out if you're into that kind of thing. So
yeah, especially at $70, you can't really go wrong.
Right. I've bought so many things that are way over $70 and not going to anywhere near the amount of time that I would on one of these. So
fair enough.
So yeah, but with that, that's all we have for today. So thank you for joining us on this edition of Tech Talk Tuesday. If you want to read up on any of the things that Matt and I talked about today, you can find links in the description below. And while you're there, how about you go ahead and subscribe and give us a like? It really helps out with all the algorithms that go on to help other people find the stream and find the channel. So we would really appreciate that. Yeah, if you have any questions that you want Matt and I to ask on the stream next week, you can go ahead and DM us on Twitter. Both of our Twitter handles are below. And yeah, we would love to answer any tech questions that you guys have, whether it's something that you're struggling with or just a random question that you have about some piece of technology. Like, we're more than willing to dig into it and help you guys figure it out, because that's what we like to do. So, but yeah, with that, we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
I really am going to go try to